Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and this is my TBR and pile of possibilities for September. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, I know we're not quite at September yet, but I want to get this this TBR and pile of possibilities done now, as I've got some other stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks, and so I thought I'd get ahead of myself a little bit and get this out. So yeah, September's going to be an interesting one for me. I decided a while back that I wanted for my adventures in genre September to be for sci-fi. I have an absolute ton of sci-fi books in my collections that I haven't read. I actually haven't read that much sci-fi at all. Sci-fi is one of those things that I really want to get into, but I find quite daunting. I kind of, rightly or not, I don't know, feel that a lot of sci-fi is probably a lot smarter than I am. And so I get a little bit daunted by it and therefore kind of put off reading it. So September will be the month where I get over myself and give quite a few bits a go. So as I say, the adventures in genre for September is sci-fi, and I have 5 books on that list, which are TBRs. These will be read. Absolutely will be read in September for adventures in genre. But then, because of this ridiculously long list of things in my collection that I haven't read, as well being sci-fi, I've got some more possibilities. So September will be a sci-fi extravaganza in my reading, and also it ties in nicely with my gaming activities for September, because Starfield is coming out on the 6th of September, a game that I have been looking forward to for years. So yes, I will be immersing myself in Bethesda's sci-fi world in my gaming activity as well. So we're just going to have a bit of a blowout of science fiction for September. So let's start off with my TBR for the adventures in genre. And I'm starting off with one which I haven't got a hard copy of yet. I'm hoping to get this out of the library. And this is Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers, which is the first in the Robot and Monk, or Monk and Robot series. And this is, I think it's quite a short one. And this follows a T-Monk sibling Dex in a futuristic world where Dex ventures into the wilderness seeking purpose beyond their structured life. An encounter with an android changes their perspective, sparking a journey of self-discovery, connection, and exploration of nature's role in human existence. So yes, it's one that I've seen quite a few people talk about, and a couple of good booktube buddies really liked it, and as I say, it's one that just kind of, the idea of it captivates me. So I thought, yes, that's perfect for September's sci-fi, and so that one has gone on the list. Next up is one that I've had for a little while now, and that is George R. R. Martin's Night Flyers. This is a novella, so again, another nice short one. And this follows 9 misfit academics on an expedition to find the Volcrin, a mythic race of interstellar nomads. And the only ship available for this strange quest is the Night Flyer, a cybernetic wonder with a never-seen captain. And these 9 innocent folks are about to find themselves in deep space, trapped with an insane murderer who can go anywhere, do anything, and intends to kill them all. I want to read this because I like the idea of I like what George R. R. Martin does with some world building, things like that. But I didn't get on with Game of Thrones. I've tried reading it and it's just not my cup of tea. I didn't get on with the TV series either, so it's not necessarily George R. R. Martin's writing. I think there's that whole kind of world that's set up. It's just not for me. But I loved what he did with his part of the sort of lore creation, the world building of Elden Ring, the video game. Thought that was fantastic. And when I realised he'd written some science fiction, I thought, oh yeah, that might be, the way for me to try some Martin, and see if I kind of like his style. And I hear good reports of this as well. So I thought we'll give this one a go. I like the premise, and I say it's a novella. It's a short one. There is a book of short stories which is also called Night Flies, which is called Night Flies and Other Stories. That includes a lot more, but this is just that novella. So we'll give that a go. Next up, it is time to try and make a dent in this massive Dick collection that I bought for my birthday with some birthday pennies. This is 5 Great Novels by Philip K. Dick. I kind of could have picked any of these in here. I have read A Scanner Darkly before, so I'm keeping that one out. I thought, why not start at the beginning, which also happens to be the shortest, and that is with The 3 Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch. So in the overcrowded world and cramped space colonies of the 21st century, tedium can be endured through the drug Can-D, which enables users to inhabit a shared illusory world. But when the industrialist Palmer Eldritch returns from an interstellar trip, he brings back with him a new drug called Chew-Z. It's far more potent than Can-D, but threatens to plunge the world into a permanent state of drugged illusion controlled by the mysterious Eldritch. Philip K. Dick, the way he writes about drugs, he's done it a lot. I find really interesting, like A Scanner Darkly. Yeah, that was a really interesting one in terms of its depictions of, kind of drug use and the dangers of drug use. Yeah, I like what I've read of Philip K. Dick in the past and really, really want to read some more. So I will make a start on this chonker and get through the first story in here. So that's The 3 Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch. Then I'm going to a classic of science fiction in an audiobook that I got recently, which is Neuromancer by William Gibson. So this was a groundbreaking cyberpunk novel which follows Case, a washed-up computer hacker who is hired for an impossible hack that could grant him freedom from his criminal past. It's set in a dystopian future, and it delves into hacking, artificial intelligence, and a digital world where reality and virtuality blur in thrilling adventure, apparently. This is one where I'm definitely kind of a little bit daunted by what I know about it, that I'm wondering whether I'm going to be able to get my head around it. But audiobooks tend to help me along with that a little bit, because if it's a good narrator, and from the sample I've heard it does sound it, that can help with the processing, I think, for me, of information. If I haven't got to kind of figure out the sort of the rhythm of the text, etc., at the same time, and some of the words, it helps to have someone tell me that kind of story. I think I kind of absorb it differently, and I think that might be my way into something like that. And then finally on the list of will be reads, the TBR, I've got one that I bought when I was away on holiday, which I've wanted to read for a while, and that is Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. And this says, welcome to Area X, an Edenic wilderness, an environmental disaster zone, a mystery for 30 years. The Southern Reach, a secretive government agency, has sent 11 expeditions to investigate Area X. One has ended in mass suicide, another in a hail of gunfire, the 11th in a fatal cancer epidemic. Now 4 women embark on the 12th expedition into the unknown. This is the first in the Southern Reach trilogy by Jeff Vandermeer. It'll be followed by Authority and Acceptance. It sounds quite eerie, potentially quite disquieting, quite bizarre. I haven't seen the Netflix film. I wanted to wait until I'd read this before I watched it. I'm hoping for some kind of creepy, weird sci-fi with this. I'm very interested to figure out what this is all about. So that is the last on the TBR. So then onto the pile of possibilities. Let's see how much of this I can get through. So the first up is an ebook that I bought a little while ago in a daily deal, and that is The Anomaly by Hervé Letellier, translated by Adriana Hunter. And this follows what happens after a strange incident involving a plane. So when a plane enters a really bad storm, it inexplicably duplicates. And so for every passenger on board, there are now two. There's a double with the same mind, same body, same memories. One plane lands in March and the other doesn't land until June. And for world leaders, the emergence of the June flight raises serious alarms. Nothing can explain what's happened, this unprecedented event. But for the passengers, they have a bigger question to face. So what happens to them now that their life is shared with their double, with their doppelganger? What happens to those who land in June and their March doubles? In terms of how do they make decisions about what happens to their lives? So the general principle is, if there's two of you and just one life, who gets to live it? I was really attracted by this idea of kind of, I always like things to do with doppelgangers. That's something that's always interested me, and this intrigued me a long time ago when I first heard about it. So this one, I do hope to get to this one and see what it's like. It could be extremely interesting, and I think a little kind of unsettling in some respects. Next up is another one from a recent daily deal, and that is The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor. And this is where humankind discovers intelligent life in an octopus species that has its own language and culture, but it sets off a high-stakes global competition to dominate the future. So yes, this one I've mentioned before on the channel during a haul. It's kind of a near-future thriller, I think, about the nature of consciousness, and intelligent octopuses that might not necessarily be, open to some of the more nefarious human intentions. And what they're going to do about it. There could definitely be some threat in there, some tension. So yes, give that one a go. Okay, then I've got a couple of comics. I thought would be nice palate cleansers and just something different to read whilst I'm trying to get through a lot of text-based stuff. So the first one is an Amazon Originals comic series, which is Clear, which is Scott Snyder and Francis Manapul. I love Scott Snyder. Pretty much everything I've ever read by Scott Snyder I've enjoyed. So I thought I'd give this one a go. And this is a sci-fi mystery thrill ride, apparently, into a strange dystopian future where a neurological internet connection is transforming reality. It's described as a hard-boiled sci-fi journey. So I like the look of the artwork of this. The front cover attracted me immediately. There's a bit of cyberpunk kind of aesthetic in there. So yeah, as I say, anything that Scott Snyder does, I'll give a go, because he's not let me down so far. And then the other comic that I'm going to give a go to, or I should say Clear and the one I'm about to talk about, are both Kindle Unlimited, so I have free access to them. And Clear is, I think, 6 issues. It's like a sort of a mini series. The other one then is Saga, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. And this will be a retry for me. I read this, Volume 1 of this, quite a few years ago now, and I didn't like it. And it was quite early on in my kind of my exploration into comics. Yeah, I just didn't get on with it. but as I say, it's a long time, and I keep, whenever I talk about comics and it comes up that I didn't like Saga, a lot of people are going to go, "What? You didn't like Saga? How do you not like Saga?" So I'm like, "Ooh, okay." Sorry. But I just thought, you know what? I'll give it another go. Because people rave about it. And I thought it's about time I gave it another chance. So I will try volume 1 again. See if I can see maybe something else in it now. And if I don't hate it again, then I will continue on and see where I go with the series. So yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Saga is described as the sweeping tale of one young family fighting to find their place in the world. When two soldiers from opposite sides of a never-ending galactic war fall in love, they risk everything to bring a fragile new life into a dangerous old universe. So as I say, I will give it another go and see where I come out on it this time. So then I've got, to finish off on the sci-fi stuff, I've got a couple of audiobooks. First one is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. And the blurb for this is, lives separated by time and space have collided, and an exiled Englishman, a writer trapped far from home, and a girl destined to die too young have each glimpsed a world that is not their own. Travelling through the centuries between colonies on the moon and an ever-changing Earth, together their lives will solve a mystery that will make you question everything you thought you knew to be true. So I think this is a bit sort of time jumpy. Timey-wimey. So yeah, I'd seen a couple of decent reviews for this on BookTube, and it was in a 2-for-1 sale, I think, and so I thought I would give this one a go. And then the other one that I have on audiobook, which is one that I will try to get to out of the pile of possibilities, because I've had this for ages and I do really want to read this, is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I keep hearing such good things about Blake Crouch, and the premises of his books always intrigue me. So this one follows a guy called Jason Desson, who is abducted, and when he wakes up he finds himself strapped down to a gurney, surrounded by people in hazmat suits, but the world he's woken up in, his life is not the one he knows. His wife isn't his wife, his son was never born, and Jason isn't the ordinary college physics professor that he is in his world, but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable and something impossible. And it sounds like, it's quite a thriller, quite mind-bending, but this is the sort of sci-fi that I quite like. I like alternative realities, something that is kind of set in our world but not our world, and this one looks like it's about choices and the path not taken and things like that, and that always intrigues me, absolutely. So yeah, I do really want that. That is quite high up on the priority list for the pile of possibilities. There are 2 other books that I would like to get to in September, if I can, that aren't sci-fi. I thought I'll have a couple on there that aren't sci-fi in case I just need a bit of a break from the sci-fi. The first one is Holly by Stephen King, which is out in September. I think the 6th of September, perhaps, that comes out. And that follows Holly Gibney, who we have met before in the Bill Hodges trilogy, and in The Outsider, and in If It Bleeds, the title story from that short story collection. And this looks like it's going to be a serial killer thriller. Potentially no supernatural stuff from King on this one. This looks much more crime-based. And he's about Holly, as the title would suggest. I love Holly Gibney. She is one of, if not my favourite, Stephen King character. I know she's not everybody's cup of tea, but I fell in love with her during the Bill Hodges trilogy. And so, to see her get a book entirely on her own is great. And I am looking forward to that. So if I can get to that in September, I will do. If not, that'll go into October. And then the final one is this beautiful book that was a surprise present from a very lovely friend recently. The Invention of Hugo Cabret by Brian Selznick. This is gorgeous illustrations along with writings, beautiful, I think, pencil drawings, I assume. And this follows 12-year-old Hugo, who lives in the walls of a busy Paris train station, and his survival depends on secrets and anonymity. But when his world suddenly interlocks with an eccentric girl and her grandfather, Hugo's undercover life and his most precious secret are put in jeopardy. A cryptic drawing, a treasured notebook, a stolen key, a mechanical man, and a hidden message from Hugo's dead father form the backbone of this intricate, tender, and spellbinding mystery. I only know bits and pieces about, I know some of the general stuff from the film Hugo, which was okay, but visually speaking didn't necessarily grab me, but the visuals in that definitely do. So I hope to get to that, and that again will be a really good palette cleanser from sci-fi. Something very, very visual and very different will probably be just the ticket when I need a little break from all the sci-fi brain mangling that is likely to ensue during September. So that is my TBR and pile of possibilities for all of my sci-fi, etc. For September. There is one more thing for September, actually. There is a reading event that I would like to take part in. I'm not going to overface myself and try and do everything for it, but I do want to do something for it. And that is for Shorty September. I will link to the announcement video by PaSTORY Time, and also another one by Soggy Expat Booknerd, who has designed a zine for the event, which helps you kind of log your reading for the prompts, and I think that's a fantastic idea. So I will link to their videos in the description. Go check them out. But obviously Shorty September is all about reading short things, and short can mean whatever you want it to be. So I am going to, I have got a second kind of list of things that I would like to read for that, and they will be super duper short. They will be like flash fiction short, that I will be able to read within like 40 minutes to an hour, something that I can read on my lunch break, things like that. So there will be various bits and pieces for that, that I will do in a separate video coming next week. Because I want to talk about that separately, and explain my plan for Shorty September. So yes, but that is it for my plans for September so far. As I say, sci-fi madness, I think. So do let me know if you have read any of the books that I have on this list. Do let me know in the comments any of your favourites, any that you want to read. If there's anything that you are also daunted by that I've talked about, and I'm always open to a buddy read suggestion, by the way, if anybody fancies that. So just hit me up in the comments if that's something you might fancy. But yes, thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming very soon. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.